Bob's Leatherworks in Crystal River, Florida. Hopefully we will not get a downpour right in the middle of my making this video, and I'll get through it the first time. Alright, what I'm going to talk about today, which I decided it was a good idea to make this video, and also convinced by the second person I'm making a butt cover for a Winchester Model 700. This one in 30-06, and this is the BDL model with the cheek pad on it, which you can see. I'm going to try to keep this wider shot so I can not have to change anything. And the very first video that I made for the Remington 700 BDL stock was its original date, which is on YouTube now, which is 21220. The whole title is Remington 700 BDL butt cover and thumbhole sling. This gentleman's not getting a sling. He had a sling and sent it to me for color matching, for dyeing. And then the date after that, 21220, which is, the hell was it? Something, February 12th, yeah, there you go, February 12th, 1920, or 2020, there we go, not 1920, 2020. So, February 12th, 2020, and since I have made him one, and we've talked on the phone, the second man who ordered this one, I've done some modifications on the pattern. Everything starts with the pattern. And what I'm going to do is hold it up a little closer so you can maybe read things yourself, you know, by looking and stopping, pausing, going back with your video. But I made a lot of notes on this pattern, and I modified it since having made the first cover, which was a dark brown. And there were two major things, actually three major things that I did with modifying the pattern. One was I came down through here on the side where the cheek pad is and curved it downward so that when it goes on to the stock, it paralleled back up with this side here. Okay. Number two, I wound up punching 6 sets of holes on the top portion on the back of the cover. This is the barrel end, okay, the back end of the stock, and I went back to 5 sets of holes. You will see that when I get around to showing you the second cover. And the third thing I did, which I talked about in the first video, was that this side here that was underneath where it rolls over here like this was too long. So I cut it back. Again, I cut it back here so that it's not as bulky. And this was a mistake. This first set of holes here was a mistake, and now it comes and joins here. What this all means is I no longer need a stock from you, and I don't have one of these of my own. I no longer need a stock to make the cover. This is now perfected, which is the case with an awful lot of holster patterns that I have and some other patterns for things I make, you know, like cases and wallets and stuff. But as far as needing a stock or a firearm to make an item, for this particular item, I no longer need the stock. So if you're you would be hesitating to send me your stock, which I can very well understand, okay, and you want to get one of these covers, then you can call me and I'll give you a price on it. Won't do it on the video because it's going to change, okay, from as years go by. So here's the writing on this side. There's a long enough look on all the notes I made. And just to tell you, although you'll see it, I got 5 rounds of 300 Win Mag on the first cover I made. I lowered, let me come over to this side, I lowered the place where I started the bullet loop strip, and I got 7 rounds of 30-06 onto this. And I believe that 30-06 is a more common caliber for this rifle than is 300 Win Mag. So anyway, there's the writing on this side, okay, for all the various notes I made. And this is what's called backer board. It's inside computer cases, things like that. You don't see it where there's acetate, but this allows me to make very tough reusable patterns. And this is gold for me, okay? So now let's get on to the actual second item, okay? And here, of course, is a better look. Let me do this first. Here's a better look at the stock that was sent to me, okay? This one's highly, I don't know, waxed or lacquered, I guess, spray lacquered, in much better condition than the first stock I had to work with. And as it was explained to me, it originally had a plastic butt plate, and this was cut off by a gunsmith, and this limb saver, you know, by name, was glued onto this guy, and the length of pull then stays the same. And generally it's between 13 and 14, more like 14 inches of length of pull. So that's another thing. I don't have to worry too much about whether it's a Packmeyer or a limb saver or somebody else's shock pad. If the length of pull is around 14, I have no problem making this cover. So let's just put this back here and get on with the cover. But color matching. This is the stock, excuse me, this is the sling that he enclosed and sent to me, and we talked about it on the phone. I won't go into all the various details of how I examined this and knew that it was how it was made. But if you send me a sling, I can upgrade it. I burned off all the fuzz and waxed this one. This is a Stalker sling, very well made sling, real leather. And I put a leather washer in here to help with this Chicago screw, which was a little long for the thickness of the leather. And this is how the color match wound up. Now, this is not dyed. We're getting back to the cover here. This is sun-dyed, meaning the leather was out in the sun. It has needs foot oil on it, which also darkened it and softens it up. So when I'm snugging it onto the back of the stock, when I get around to lacing it on, which I will do, I will pause a little bit later and put it on the rifle and then come back. It'll only be a second like that, but it'll be about 10 or maybe 15 minutes from me putting it on the rifle. But there's 10 sets of holes here to match up with the other 10 over here, about 3/4 of an inch apart. Here's my maker's stamp, U.S. flag, and his initials, HLP, Hotel Lima, Papa for you military guys. Here are the 7 30-06 rounds. Okay, I'm going to put them all in here in a bit. But the one up front, and they're snug, okay, right about there, and it's going to stick down this far. And fortunately, everything worked out well as far as spacing and placement. So this, where I started this, came up to here. It ended right underneath where these 5 holes are to lace the top on, this back part. Now, if you're interested, or just for explanation, this is under here. There's the inside. This is an old writing from when the leather first came in. This is 4 or 5 ounce leather. Here, let's get it right side up so you can see it read it. 4 or 5 ounce leather. And this is, again, soaked up in neat's foot oil inside out and backwards, and it's also waxed with Johnson's paste wax, which I use virtually every time to finish leather with. There it is, okay. Johnson's paste wax, available at Home Depot. So when you want to renew your waterproofing, which is why I'm using it, and get a mellow gloss, okay, this is all waxed up and buffed out. And here is a little bit of a hint of how this is going to go onto the stock, because this was wet formed onto the stock. So I shaped it when I was making the modifications, especially for here. Under here where this, see, this goes across, all the buttstock covers that I make are made in this general design, where there's an overlap on top, a lacing up underneath, and then the notching out for the bottom of here of the stock. And then if in fact everything is straight, then there'll be a notch up here on an 1894 or a Marlin 336. But in this case, we had to accommodate the shape of this stock with the cheek pad on it. So at this point, I'm going to pause the video, put this on the rifle, which is going to finish it up because I'm going to send it back to him installed. Put the sling back on the rifle, and it'll go back into the box he sent it to me in, and off it will go. Possibly this afternoon, most definitely tomorrow. So we're going into pause right now. Let me get my remote guy, and back in a half a second. Okay, we are back after about 45 minutes of wrestling with putting this thing on. And the reason is, putting the cover on, the reason is that this is black Latigo lace, 5/32 of an inch. You can get it at Tandy Leather online, but you can also use paracord or anything for that matter, but it's 5/32 diameter. Now, I connected the sling through here to show you that the sling swivels will go right back through. I believe this stock comes with these 2 studs, and then you're using Uncle Mike's. These are the old style ones that don't have the screw. They just push and pull. But regardless, you can see how the lacing across, and I'm checking to make sure I don't lose the shot so you don't get pissed off at me, but how it went right around the stud, and there's the sling. I'm going to reattach it, the other one, in a minute, because I want to explain something about how I was able to match things up. One of them was that I used this black Latigo lace. So here are the 7 bullet loops. I only have 6 30-06 empty rounds that he sent me, and he said I could keep them to use in the future. But making the pattern, back when I made the pattern the first time, here it is again, I must have made this thing 4, maybe 5 times until I finally got it right. Which brings me back to the point I made earlier, was that I no longer need stock to make this cover. It just went on great. I guess that's the most superlative word I use, because it will settle in. Right now there's this curve around here, okay, that provides for a little bit of an opening here, but it's about as snug as I can get it when I'm making the pattern. See, there are folds on the pattern, where it can lay flat, and there's the curve arounds, but the leather is a different texture, a different density, and so therefore it's as snug as I can get it. Here are the 5 sets of holes, and this black Latigo lace going over, and I cut this one off with a square knot because this is about as tight as it's ever going to get up here. Now underneath, in lacing it on yourself, okay, let me show you that. Okay, here we go. Okay, this takes some time to do, and you want a piece long enough if you ever would have to redo it, or when you get the stock from the butt cover from me with a length of lace to use. This will take some time, so get all your honeydews done or whatever you have to do, and this will take you a while when you have no experience to get this done. This is the baseball stitch. Over, under, from underneath, turning this flat material so that you have the shiny side, grain side, shiny side, grain side, and that you also put it on in continuous same over under, meaning that you start out back here and then each one goes under, over, under, over, under, over, and so on down the line. I'm leaving this as a bow so that if, when he gets this, that he decides he wants to tighten it up some more, if it settles in, while it's resting and in transit, and he decides that this is wiggling too much or something and he wants to go back in and tighten it up, you can use a needle nose pliers, but be very, very careful not to cut into this, okay, because this is cowhide lace finished in the Latigo style. That is why I put this bow on here, so it can be loosened up and then pulled through and then tightened again, and when he decides, whoever puts this on decides that it's tight enough for them, then they can shorten this up or they can leave the bow or whatever they would like. Alright, so that's that. Again, 5 30-second holes. There are 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sets of those. Okay. All waxed up. And again, one more time, Johnson's Paste Wax, available at Home Depot. Have yourself, inside the can there's a short piece of a cotton sock that I use as an applicator. And then this is a dedicated washcloth, and I've been using this thing now for about 7, 8 years or more. And then on top of that, get yourself a nail brush, and get these at Walmart, and you can go over everything and get rid of any clumped up stuff. You will get a leather care document, whatever leather item you buy from me, a gun belt, a belt, a shotgun belt, holsters, whatever, and this, there'll be a leather care document in with this when it's shipped to you. So here's an American flag stamp, my maker stamp, Bob's Leatherworks, made in the USA, with my US flag stamp. Here is the cover over on the cheek pad, and I wrestled around with whether I was going to make this piece separate, sew it to this piece, and finally I realized, no, just do it this way, and see, it's settled in. So you can see how it worked. Now you've got this here, and the overlap is here. This is for right hand. If you are left-handed and you've got a left-handed BDL stock, I think there are some of them out there, I can make this in reverse. Bullet loops will be over here, cheek pad will be over there on the other side. I'm trying to keep the shot tight and keep the item in here so you don't get ticked off at me. But there you go. Alright, so, oh, and one more thing, okay, as far as the color matching again was concerned, alright, on this particular stock, this is again a stalker stock. This black material that's in here isn't leather, this is vinyl. This is the stuff that if you were in camp and you made lanyards to put whistles on and things like that, this is actually a vinyl material, it's not leather. This is black dyed, or black brown, very dark brown leather. This is antiqued, it's sewn on the edges, and from the my decision to use the black Latigo lace and not dye this, just put needs foot oil on it, sun dye it, wax it, and whatnot. They match pretty close. And on top of that, over time, this is going to darken down from handling. I can't really show it to you very well, but I didn't dye my cell phone case, and now it's black, or very dark black brown. Didn't get black, but it's a very dark black brown, and this is a black brown. If you put a hard light on this material in here in these little diamond windows, it is a dark black brown. So that's it from Crystal River, Florida, Bob's Leatherworks. If you want to order anything, go to the end of the video. You'll find all my contact information and on all the other videos that I've made. And while I'm still talking to you, let's go down to the other end of this stock. Okay, down here. Well, lost the shot. Where is it? Still not in. Hang on. Can't get it. Bingo. It's in there, finally. Okay, it's in there. Here we go. Push on this. Click it over. And now the sling is back on the rifle. And there's the back end. And there's the front end. Right there. And there's the back end again. Alright, sorry for the in and out shot. But that's how it is in the real world. Nothing is perfect. And since the big debate is tomorrow, considering the date I'm making this video, tomorrow night, I think you all know how I feel about who should be winning that debate and who is going to win the election. And I guess the big clue I'll give you about how I feel about that is that he's already our president and commander-in-chief. So, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Be careful out there. And bye-bye from Crystal River, Florida, Bob's Leatherworks. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.